We've been doing marriage seminars for 21, 22 years together.
Yeah, first thing we did together, and it's endured those years.
The impact of Barnabas marriage seminars for me has really been in the world of giving me an opportunity to kind of tune up my marriage. I would say Holly and I need regular maintenance in our marriage, and a big part of that is just giving us things to talk about. I think a lot of times in our history there have been things that have been going on in our hearts as men and women where we haven't really had categories or the courage to have the conversations that we needed to have in our relationship. And Heart to Heart gave us those categories. It gave us those conversations and really fueled a deeper, more intimate, more significant conversation than we would normally have over the dinner table or when we're tired at the end of the night or even on a date by having a prolonged opportunity to think about the deeper issues in our marriage.
And couples that connect at a weekend like this or share a weekend like this have something in common. There's some similar aha moments that couples share that builds a friendship between couples.
Yeah, I think it goes along with a principle in Matthew 7. Look at the log in your own eye first, then you'll see clearly to help the other with the speck in their eye. And so it follows along that principle, what's going on with me that prevents me from loving like I should, loving like I could, and it puts the responsibility not on the other person but on myself, which I can change. I can't change the other person, but I can change me. And that's an empowering thing. It sounds like you're giving up a lot, but you're actually gaining a level of freedom that's can be exhilarating. I can change, and that can help my marriage and help me as a person individually.
It was a great opportunity for us to invite others to come to our church that wouldn't normally come to a Sunday morning, or they're kind of skeptical of listening to a sermon, but they'd come and work on their marriage and opening it up to the community to say, this is a gift from us to you as a church. We want you to come and just invest in your marriage. And a lot of people are open to doing that, and we did see, and just to say if you're considering it, it's a great opportunity for your church to engage the community around you with a great tool for marriages and inviting people to come in and experience that.
Well, I think that going to a marriage seminar can be intimidating. And I would be surprised if there's anybody who doesn't feel at least a little bit nervous the first day when you walk through the door. But I think that you'll find a lot of comfort and reassurance. Couples get up in front of you and tell their story, and you find out that you're not alone, that a lot of people have the same struggles that you do, which is reassuring. And these couples usually have great stories of how they've worked through different challenges and issues that have come up in their life and in their marriage, which is always encouraging. And I think you can expect to be challenged. You can expect to draw closer to God, and you can expect to draw closer to your spouse.
But I think what it did is gave us a framework later on, a language for kind of being more self-aware of the ways in which we were going to stir each other up over time. I think for me it felt a little exposed, because I think it was asking questions that I knew I wanted to get to someday, but I almost didn't feel like we had the relational bridge to talk about some of them yet. And we're married, and we're close and we're growing, but there's certain issues that I felt at that time, I recall, feeling like, man, I'm not sure we'll ever get to a point where we can talk about this. And so almost I remember those weekends years down the road when some of this language from Barnabas training, some of the language from the Heart to Heart weekend, and some of just life down the road, talking with people who had been through the training too, it led to better discussions and more honest reflection later on. And 10 years into marriage, a lot of these things finally came out that were there all the time, but really did need both some time, some relational bridge, and then some of these tools to get out later on.
I think some of the best skills that our folks learned from a Barnabas Marriage Weekend were things like communication, learning how to have good conversations with one another. And I think that's something that goes overlooked because we just assume that we can have good conversations in the context of marriage, but it's a skill that has to be continued to be refined and worked on. And I feel like that happened for us at our marriage weekend.
I first heard of these kinds of weekends, my mindset was, well, that's for people whose marriages are in trouble. That could be true, but I think it's for anybody who's married, particularly if you have a quote healthy unquote marriage, because there will always be something that you're dealing with, some issue there, and I don't think any issue is too light or too severe to have one of these weekends be really meaningful for you, no matter where you are in your marriage.
The benefits for us hosting at our church were that we could take the best of something that was happening at the Barnabas Center and bring it to New Charlotte. And so for our folks, we didn't necessarily have to send them someplace else, but they could come to their church, sit in the seats that they normally do on the weekends, and really glean from the best of what the Barnabas Center had to offer, but do it in a comfortable environment that they were familiar with.